Hi everyone, welcome. I'm preparing to head downstairs to my wormery to check in on what is now, well, has been for some time now, my oldest active system, and today is a big milestone day for the VermiBag Mini with the red wigglers in it. Today is its 500th day in service, and that's quite a feat. I mean, if you look at my next youngest or next oldest system, 251 days old. So yesterday it was exactly half the age of what the VermiBag is today. And these two active systems here at 251 are already getting staged for harvest. I mean, for the past month or so almost, they've already been in a foraging mode and soon to be harvested. But when it comes to a system like the VermiBag Mini, being a continuous flow system, it really doesn't have a defined end date. It just keeps going and going. And a lot of people always ask me, when are you going to finally harvest that system? It really just consists of nothing more than opening up the hatch on the bottom, dropping out some of the castings that are in there. I'll tell you, I'm in no rush. Oops. Well, that was my screensaver, I think, telling me I should get into a rush. Let's get this show on the road. We're going to head downstairs, and we're going to check in on the 500-day-old VermiBag. Fed 39 times so far, another nice round number, feeding number 40 going in today. So let's get on downstairs and get to work. So this entire area was drenched in sunlight coming out through the window, the wormery window, making it a terrible condition to film in. However, I was able to take one of these massive sheets of cardboard that I've been bringing home from the Costco. They're just layers of cardboard that are on the pallets, separating layers of product. They're everywhere when you go into the Costco. If you're a Costco customer, then grab a couple of those. You'll find them everywhere, resting next to pallets. So we've created a somewhat more favorable lighting condition for the VermiBag Mini. So let's get in here and see how they're coming along. To commemorate 500 days in service, they're getting a relatively ordinary feeding. The feeding last time was an old stale everything bagel, and I actually had two of these bagels. One of them ended up here in the VermiBag Mini. The other one was fed to another of my systems that I just checked in on the other day, and as I recall, there was still a huge worm party going on, working on that bagel, and I'm wondering if that's what we're going to encounter in here today too. Well, this piece of paper, newspaper, or no, paper bag, this piece of paper bag was brand new, rested out on the top surface. It was even soaked, dampened to make it that much more appealing for the worms to want to hang out in. And seems to have worked because they've nibbled it away for the most part. We were very generous with moisture. During the last check-in, we just we took a whole bunch of leafy matter like this that we found out on the surface when we first arrived, and we grabbed my squirt bottle, which I've got on hand once again here today, and we just went on and on and on with the spray bottle, drenching this slightly dry stuff in the process of blending it in down into the bed. I really like that idea. So why don't we start with that, and we'll reserve the check-in on how that bagel's doing for later. So my squirt bottle, I believe, has some moisture in it still. It's running a little low, but I think we've got enough to do a nice little tilling in of the leafy matter. So let's take care of that really quick. It's kind of nice to find wormies hanging out near the top surface. But you know, one thing I did notice, you might have seen me slowing down a bit there as I approached the view window on the side of the VermiBag Mini, was that I did find myself digging a little bit deeper than usual, and it was pretty dry down there. Definitely dry down low. So almost as a rule, I've in general been very careful not to probe too deep down into the material in this system. And I guess the main reason for that is that before you would ever dare to open up the big hatch on the bottom of one of these systems, as you can imagine, you want to have like a pretty good sense of confidence that the material is going to remain. It's going to stay in the bag, allowing only a little bit of the stuff to drop out the bottom, not the entire contents of the system flushing out the bottom. And that's the part of it that I always feel like I've got to have more material in here that's going to sort of grab onto the walls as I start releasing some of the stuff that's at the very bottom. But I tell you, it also makes me wonder how damp or dry that stuff at the very bottom is. Hopefully, every time we do one of these fairly generous applications of moisture, some of it might make its way down to the bottom and keep the lower levels a little bit more moist. But I don't know, I usually steer clear. I don't want to dig down that far. One of these days I gotta look up how long this stem's been going. Because even in the previous environment, this stem had already been in service for probably 100 days before coming into here for the additional 500 days it's spent here. So that thing's been going for a long, long time. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is roundabouts where the bagel had been fed. In the other system I came in, found little tiny scraps of the bagel, little bits and pieces of white material that the worms are still working on, but here we might not encounter leftovers. They might have done away with the bagel. Definitely fun to see all these wormies hanging out down in the feeding area, probably enjoying the moisture haven that we've created for them here. All right. As a foundation for their feeding, we'll just use this little piece of brown paper bag that was resting out on the top surface as a foundational bedding. I've also got my box of, well, here it is, totally full, right up to the top. My box of leafy matter. And I really like the way the systems are when you've got a good bit of nice bedding blended in everywhere. So I think I'm going to keep to doing that going forward. So sort of like what we did today, finding some nice leafy matter out on the surface and having the opportunity to blend it all in, I think we're going to do the same. We'll come back with those leaves and sprinkle some out as a top layer coating. So there's some yummy morsels in here, but that's not the end of it, because if you're a regular here, you'll probably know if you see coffee, a lot of times it means you're going to also see worm chow. So let's do that. But you know what? I got grit too. Oh, that's quite a bit, but that's okay. I got plenty of grit, that's for sure. And I guess the added bonus of having coffee is usually that the coffee filter is included. Oh, that was quite a bit of worm chow too. But yeah, so having the oh, I almost forgot about these old, well, I did forget about these old food items. There was also this other little smaller pumpkin stem. Let's get these down into the feeding area too. And now we can get stuff covered up. So no piece of paper bag to drape out over the feeding zone today, but we do have our customary feeding zone indicator, and we will have a nice top blanket of leafy matter too, which I think will be nice. Should we? Yeah, you know, why not? I think we could probably give the system a little quick final squirt with the water bottle. The only reason I was hesitant to do so was because the pressure is getting a little bit low here. So I don't have a whole bunch of moisture coming out, but perhaps the little bit that is coming out will be enough to return some of this lovely material back down into the system. And, you know, while that's going on, I can really quickly just say thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, as always, please don't forget to give me a quick thumbs up before you go. That's always really appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, please also consider subscribing to the channel. That's very much appreciated as well. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye now.